Chairman Reed and Ranking Member Wicker for moving the NDAA through the Armed Services Committee last month. And I hope that we can move quickly on it here on the floor in July. These two areas, appropriations and the NDAA, the Defense Act, are prime examples of the kind of bipartisan work we want to see in the Senate.
New relief money available. Several states have announced new plans to provide financial relief to the reinserts. Now, according to officials in the state of Oregon, a record $5 billion in revenue surplus will be returned to taxpayers in the form of an income tax credit known as a kicker. The State Office of Economic Analysis, which confirmed the amount of the state, is now in the largest in state history. It will be credited to taxpayers on state personal income tax returns for the year. Have even confirmed that the typical Oregon resident is expected to receive a $980 credit. The forecast for the current 2023 to 2025 is also rosy, with corporate income taxes helping to boost the state's general fund resources by $437 million. Oregon officials say they've been pleased with the post-crisis recovery, and state economists said in their most recent forecast that growth is surpassing expectations and that income gains are outpacing price increases as inflation slows, leading to rising living standards. But in Texas, after months of debate, there's finally an agreed-upon plan to get Texans property tax relief. 3 bills are headed to the Governor Abbott's desk to sign. Property tax relief is the hot topic of today. Governor Greg Abbott campaigned on the issue for re-election last year. He wanted to spend half of the state's budget to reduce property taxes. And according to Yahoo News, there's a wave of corporate defaults and bankruptcies that becoming as high interest rates batter U.S. companies. Experts warn it could raise the odds of a recession as high interest rates take their toll on businesses. 459 companies have filed for bankruptcy at the end of August, and that number already surpassed the number already in 2021. So some things are changing, and will equal hundreds of dollars for many people. It's fueled by surging revenue. States have been slashing taxes for individuals and businesses for the past 3 years. But tax cuts are expected to come to an end in some states in the fiscal year. Some 25 states have cut individual income tax rates since 2021. It includes 22 states that reduced their top marginal rates. In 2023 alone, at least 8 states approved rate reductions. And Arkansas is trimming its top individual income tax rate to 4.7%, after reducing it from 5.5%. Aside from individual income tax cuts, states have proposed rebate checks for their residents. Last year, 17 states issued inflation relief payments as well. And now, if you're a Massachusetts resident, income tax refunds were available to you if you paid personal income taxes and filed your return by October 17. If you file your state return by October 17, you should be able to get your stimulus check back. Nearly $100 million in rebates will be sent out to residents across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Starting today, over 4 million older homeowners, renters, and people with disabilities will be issued rebates on rent and property taxes paid in 2022. According to a release, the rebates will be allocated to eligible Pennsylvanians who submitted an application through the property tax and rent rebate program. Applicants who submit their bank account information on the application forms will receive the rebate through direct deposit. And those who request a paper check to be mailed should expect to receive the payment in the mail too. But after the initial distribution of rebates in early July, rebates will be distributed as claims are received and processed. Recently, a Pennsylvania governor called for a major expansion for the relief program, which provided a lifeline for Pennsylvania renters and homeowners. Typically, when you have debt discharge, the IRS treats it as taxable income. With student loan forgiveness, taxes work differently. In March, President Biden signed the American Rescue Plan, which included a clause regarding student loan forgiveness, saying that any federal student loans that were discharged between 2021 and 2025 would not be considered taxable income in terms of federal taxes. Now, lawmakers are back in Washington for the predetermined midterm election sprint. Preventing a government shutdown will be the top legislative item for all lawmakers. The political environment has shifted over the past few weeks. This is impacted by a batch of legislative wins for Democrats earlier in the summer and signs the inflation-laden economy is improving. Democrats are now more confident than ever that they can stem expected losses in President Biden's first midterm elections. They are hopeful they can retain a majority in the Senate, while preventing Republicans from gaining a broad majority in the House. passing a short-term spending bill before a deadline of September 30th at midnight, when the government funding is set to expire, is a top concern for everybody in Congress. The bill will need the support of Republicans in the Senate, and the 60 votes need to pass. Democrats want to demonstrate to voters they can govern responsibly and not allow a damaging shutdown. In the Senate, Democrats will also keep confirming federal judges nominated by Biden, with government funding set to expire at the end of the month. Both chambers are expected to pass some kind of stopgap funding extension in the upcoming weeks to avert the shutdown, and stopgap funding bills are known as Capitol Hill as a continuing resolution. The Senate Appropriations Chair, Patrick Leahy, a Vermont Democrat, is also aiming for a continuing resolution to run until mid-December to allow lawmakers time just to finish the regular appropriation bills. Now, Hawaii Democratic Senator Brian Schatz summed up the to-do list for Senate Democrats when asked recently by CNN when the September work period will look like. He said continuing resolution and judges. Amid concerns that the higher prices will hurt consumer wallets, some state and federal lawmakers are looking at ways to ease that pain at the pump. Mike Thompson, John Larson, and Lauren Underwood introduced the Gas Rebate Act of 2022, and that's going to send monthly payments of $100 to Americans where the average gas price is higher than $4 a gallon. The program will begin to phase out for individuals earning more than $75,000 and couples earning more than $150,000. Index uses various public databases to calculate the cost of healthcare, housing, food, and transportation, and miscellaneous expenses for seniors. It represents a bare-bones budget, adjusted for whether adults live alone or as part of a couple, and whether they rent or own homes or without a mortgage. Now, there are billions of dollars left over in stimulus funds. More and more governors have agreed to allocate this money towards the people that need the most, and that means stimulus checks. Beginning in October, California residents will receive one-time inflation relief checks of as much as $1,000. Whether you qualify for the middle-class tax refund and how much you could get depends on your income, filing status, and household size. The refund is expected to total around $9.5 billion as part of a larger $12 billion relief plan approved by lawmakers. In a statement, Newsom said California's budget addresses the state's most pressing needs and prioritizes getting dollars back into the pockets of millions of people who are grappling with global inflation and rising prices of everything from gas to groceries. According to officials, roughly 23 million California residents are eligible for this rebate plan, which has been set up in 3 tiers based on the adjusted gross income on your 2020 California state tax return. Single taxpayers who earn less than $75,000 and couples who file jointly and made less than $150,000 will receive $350 per taxpayer and another flat $350 if they have independence. So a married couple with children, therefore, could receive as much as $1,000. This is the largest tax bracket, representing about 80% of recipients. In addition to meeting income requirements, residents must have filed the 2020 tax refund by October 15, 2021, and have lived in the state